My name is Mark and welcome to my channel. Join me all year round, come rain or shine, and together we will be fishing for pleasure. This week's episode, fishing a Fenland drain. Well, you know how it is. You think you've got a plan, you get off work, you rush to the riverbank, in this case a drain, and that plan's out the window. Oh, it's far too choppy, far too windy to take rud off the surface. So I'm gonna have to get a bit of bait in and hopefully attract some fish down to the deck, tension bream, hopefully some bonus roach. Let's get set up, sliding float, and we'll, because it's quite deep here, I'll plumb it of course, but you're looking at 11-12 foot out there. Evening troops, it's quite late in the day, just finished work, it's 7 o'clock. The sun's setting. I had planned on doing a little bit of rud fishing, but it's blowing a gale. I mean, really blowing a gale. There's quite a strong ripple on the water. It's a crosswind. Very difficult to even get baits out there, let alone present them. So, plan B, I've gone on with a sliding float. I'm going to fish on the deck, put a bit of ground bait in. I'm going to fish for tension bream. There's some bonus roach and that with the corn. Might switch over to worms later on. So you can see what we can catch in a couple of hours on a Fenland drain. I say I was hoping to catch some rudd. Didn't really realise how windy it was at work. I was sat at work and it was blue skies, sun was shining. I thought, oh, perfect rudd weather. But yeah, the wind's really whacking through. So it's about 11 foot out there. I'm fishing with a sliding float, and let's see what we can catch. Hopefully it'll be as good as the last session. The last session was a cracker. If you ain't seen it, follow the link somewhere up there, and we had some cracking tench out of the river. Now we're on a drain. Let's see if we can do the same. Not much has happened so far, but last few minutes I've seen a few bubbles popping around that float. Fish has rolled. There's definitely fish over my bait. Let's see if we can entice one of these tench to play ball. Well, been fishing 2 hours, and wouldn't you know it, it's just getting dark and the fish are on. The swim is fizzing. I'm getting liners. There's fish down there. I've had a few bites. It might not look very dark on the camera, but it's almost dark, completely dark. I can barely see the float. Going to be a starlight job or a ledger job, but there's definitely fish there. I can't pack up while there's fish there. Just can't do it. It's not in my nature. So we're going to crack on. Let's see if we can have a few. Well, morning troops. A lovely morning it is. Now I could have cut the first part of the video out and said I just arrived early morning for a session and made it look a little bit better, as we didn't catch anything yesterday. But that's not real fishing. Finished work at 6, fishing by 7:15, and we didn't have a touch really. And in the last 15-20 minutes of daylight, the swim really started to fizz. And there was definitely fish in the swim. I was getting liners, I was getting bites. Didn't hook and land anything for the camera, sadly. Once it got dark, got a small leisure out there, double grain of corn on a hair rig, size 10 hook, and during the night I had about 4 tench, all around the 3-4 pound mark. Too dark to film, but you know, it was steady runs throughout the night, and I managed to get 4 of them. Now it's light, there's plenty of fizzing still in the swim. I'm back on the float, prefer the float. I like catching fish on the float. Well, I've missed a few bites straight away, and I think because the conditions are slightly different now. Yesterday it was very windy, and I was fishing quite crude with a sliding float, big weight, just to get out and get my bait down on the deck. It's a lot calmer today, so I've just switched over to the rig I was using in the last video, and we're going to see how that goes. I've had a few bites on corn, it's not great. I'm going to switch over to corn and worm cocktail now and see if that produces anything. But it's a beautiful morning. Let's see if we can catch some tench for the camera now. Yeah, you can see it's a lot calmer than yesterday. There is a breeze, but it's not gale force like it was yesterday. It weren't gale force, but it was strong enough to interfere with your fishing. Like a mill pond out there now. Still got a single grain of corn on. I'm about to switch over to corn and worm cocktail. We get bites on a single grain of corn, but I'm not hitting them. I've got a funny feeling I've got some small stuff out there. Oh, you see that? Let's get in the right position. Let's get ready for action. Well, what can I say? What followed was a very frustrating early morning on that float rig. Just could not hit anything. So, quick change over to a ground bait feeder. I thought that would improve the situation, and it did. I hooked into a few, or a couple, a tench, but they bumped me. They gave me a bit of a beating that morning. The tench definitely were the winners. They were there, they were feeding, they were either nicking me bait or they were bumping me off. Right, let's see if there's anything out there on the drop. Historically along here, 8-9 o'clock, you're going to lose your ability to catch the tench. nothing sophisticated. Floating bit of corn. Just enough float and weight to get out there. Try and keep it over the baited area. There we go. We're catching rudd. Nothing on the bottom. I had 2 tench on. Both of them bumped me, so again we're drifting slowly over the baited area. You can see the flow of the drain is taking that through the swim pretty rapidly. I might even get this leisure rod in out my way. There we go, little twitch. Not big enough to even pull the float under, but you know, there are big rudd in here. Well, that's drifting in too quick for me now. Oh, yeah. Gonna get that leisure rod in out of the way in a minute. That's definitely not gonna go. There we go. You see the change of direction in the float. And another rudd. Here we go, back over the baited area. Got that leisure rod out of the way. Let's see if we can catch a decent rudd before we go. Well, another session draws to a close. Conclusion, you can never rely on a natural venue. I arrived, conditions were poor for what I wanted to do, so I had to adapt my float rig. Nothing happened. Just before it was getting dark, the swim was alive. It was fizzing, there was bubbles, there was liners. I was getting a few bites. I couldn't pack up. I just couldn't. I thought, well, I'm gonna have a good night. And I had 4 tench during the night. Too dark to film, so it's a shame I didn't get any on camera for this episode. And this morning, everything looked perfect. Calm, mill pond, good indication, everything looked great. And they started running the drain off, so I couldn't float fish. So I had to fourth plan. So I stuck a feeder out, which was great. I had 2 tench on the feeder, both of them beat me, bumped me off. So I lost them both. Half hour ago, as it does here, swim went dead. You know, the tench don't like it after 9 o'clock-ish at the latest. You know, morning and evening, middle of the day, they disappear on you, the tench. They don't feed all day. So, oh bugger. So I've, as you've seen, I just had a little half hour, 45 minutes on the drop, taking rud every cast, and now that's dried up. So yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to flick my ground bait feeder back out for the last half, well not even half hour. I'm going to flick it out, single grain of corn, ground bait and hemp in the feeder, and I'm just going to have a slow pack up, and if I get a bonus tench, you'll know about it. If I don't, I'm going to go home and cry. It was a good session. You know, it's you can't fill your boots every time you go, but we, you know, I didn't blank. Shame I didn't catch any of the tench during good filming conditions with the light, but I say we had 4 tench, all about 3 or 4 pound. Nothing earth shattering, nothing that's going to set the world alight. The 2 I bumped felt a little bit bigger, but you never can tell. That initial surge, they always feel like giants, don't they? So we've been out doing what we enjoy. That's the main thing. And I'll see you on the bank real soon. Tight lines, everyone.